Welcome to day 70 of the New Way. I have tried to keep everything chronological to the best of my understanding and based on other scholars' work. However, when it comes to Jesus' teachings, we find that Jesus taught the same things over and over. Jesus wanted to make sure that his disciples would remember what he taught. So he repeated himself at different locations in different times. While one writer may record a sermon early in Jesus' ministry, other writers may record it as happening much later. I don't have a problem with that. We know that Jesus taught the same thing at different times, sometimes with slight variations. But for ease of studying, I have combined all of Jesus' teachings on a particular subject so that we will only study his teachings once, even though they may be recorded multiple times and preached at various places. This will mess up the chronology, but ease the study. I assure you again, we will not skip any verses in these 4 manuscripts. We'll begin this section with Matthew 5, 1 through 2. Now when Jesus saw the crowds, he went up on a mountainside and sat down. His disciples came to him, and he began to teach them. And now let's look at Luke 6, 17 through 19. He went down with them and stood on a level place. A large crowd of his disciples was there, and a great number of people from all over Judea, from Jerusalem, and from the coastal region around Tyre and Sidon, who had come to hear him and to be healed of their diseases. Those troubled by impure spirits were cured, and the people all tried to touch him, because power was coming from him and healing them all. The first teaching that we will look at is a good example. Matthew records the Sermon on the Mount near the beginning of Jesus' ministry and states that Jesus sat on the side of a mountain to teach it, hence the title Sermon on the Mount. Luke, however, records a very similar sermon, but places it at a later time period and doesn't mention a mountain. We will compare and contrast the two sermons, but you will find that the points are very similar. In today's study, we'll only look at the introduction to this sermon. It is often called the Beatitudes. There are striking differences between the two accounts. If they were preached at 2 different times, we could assume that Jesus included some parts and took out others, depending on the crowd's needs. But there's a second possibility for the differences. Remember that when there are 2 witnesses who see or hear something, their report will be different based on their current thinking and their current emotions or thoughts. I believe it is possible that Matthew and Luke listened to the same sermon, preached at different times, but heard different things. Let's listen to Matthew's account in Matthew 5, 3 through 12. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven, for in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. And now let's look at Jesus' sermon recorded by Luke. This is found in Luke 6:20 through 23. Looking at his disciples, he said, "Blessed are you who are poor, for yours is the kingdom of God. Blessed are you who hunger now, for you will be satisfied. Blessed are you who weep now, for you will laugh. Blessed are you when people hate you, when they exclude you and insult you, and reject your name as evil because of the Son of Man. Rejoice in that day and leap for joy, because great is your reward in heaven, for that is how their ancestors treated the prophets." What differences did you notice in the introduction recorded by these two writers? Matthew seems to focus on the spiritual character, while Luke seems to focus on the physical aspects. Matthew also lists more blesseds than Luke. Luke leaves some of them out. We'll continue to discuss the Beatitudes tomorrow. In his service, Dale.